The impossible arrival, the sensors at Deep Station Omega had monitored the void between galaxies for over 3 centuries. Located at the very edge of Zephyrian space, it served as the first line of defense against threats from the dark between stars. Admiral Karras had commanded the station for 15 years, and, in all that time, the most exciting event had been a rogue asteroid cluster drifting through their sector. That changed on a Tuesday morning when every alarm in the facility began, screaming at once. "Admiral." Sensor Operator Vex called out, his 4 arms dancing across the control panels with practiced precision. "We have a massive contact appearing on the edge of our detection grid. It just materialized out of nowhere." Karras strode to the main display, his tall, blue-skinned frame casting a shadow over the control pit. The Zephyrians were known throughout the galaxy for their military precision and advanced technology. Their ships were among the fastest, their weapons the most accurate, and their sensors the most sensitive in known space. Nothing should be able to surprise them. "Show me," Karras commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never encountered a problem he couldn't solve. The main hologram flickered to life, displaying a 3-dimensional map of local space at the very edge of sensor range. A contact pulsed red. The numbers scrolling beside it made Karras pause. "Vex, check your equipment. These readings can't be correct." "I've run diagnostics 3 times, Admiral. The object is approximately 12 kilometers long, 4 kilometers wide, and appears to be made of materials our sensors can't identify. It's not generating any known energy signatures, yet it's clearly powered, and Admiral... Vex's voice wavered. Slightly, it appeared between one sensor sweep and the next. No ship can travel that fast without leaving a trail. Karras studied the display with growing unease. In his 30 years of military service, he had seen ships from every known species in the galaxy. The sleek, blade-like vessels of the Korthok, Dominion, the organic, flowing designs of the Viridian Collective, the massive fortress ships of the Titan clans. This matched none of them. "Send a priority message to Fleet Command," Karras ordered. "Include all sensor data. Then contact the other powers in this sector. If this is some new weapon or technology, they need to know." Within hours, the message had spread throughout the galaxy. The response was immediate and unprecedented. Every major power began scrambling fleets toward the location. The Korthok, with their genetically enhanced warriors and bioships that could regenerate damage in battle. The Viridian Collective, whose artificial intelligence network could process information faster than any organic mind. The Titan clans, whose massive vessels carried enough firepower to crack planets. But as the various fleets approached Deep Station Omega, something strange began happening. The closer they got to the mysterious vessel, the more their instruments began failing. Commander Thrak of the Korthok battlecruiser Bloodfang was the first to experience it firsthand. The Korthok were warriors bred for combat, their ships designed for one purpose: overwhelming firepower. Thrak himself stood nearly 3 meters tall, his scaled hide scarred from a dozen battles, his 4 eyes capable of tracking multiple targets simultaneously. "Bring us within weapons range of the unknown vessel," Thrak growled to his bridge crew. "If it threatens Korthok space, we end this quickly." But as the Bloodfang closed to within 50,000 kilometers of the human ship, something impossible happened. The Korthok vessel's engines simply stopped working. Not shut down, not damaged. They simply ceased to function, as if the very laws of physics had been suspended around them. "Engineering," Thrak roared. "Report." "Commander, All systems show green. The engines are running perfectly, but we're not moving. It's as if space itself has become solid around us. Similar reports came flooding in from every ship that attempted to approach. The Viridian Collective's vessels, run by advanced AI that could calculate millions of variables simultaneously, found their computers unable to process the data from the mysterious ship. The readings simply didn't make sense. Nexus Prime, the collective consciousness that guided the Viridian ships, transmitted its confusion to the other fleets. This vessel operates outside known parameters. Our analysis subroutines are encountering logical paradoxes. The ship appears to exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. This should be impossible. Back at Deep Station Omega, Admiral Karras found himself in command of the largest gathering of alien fleets in galactic history, all staring at a single vessel that seemed to mock everything they thought they knew about technology and physics. "Admiral," Vex reported, his voice tight with fear. "The object is moving." The mysterious ship, which had remained stationary since its appearance, began a slow, deliberate course toward the galactic core. As it moved, something even more disturbing became apparent. Every ship that had approached too closely found themselves being gently pushed away by an invisible force. Not violently, not destructively, but with an irresistible pressure that made pursuit impossible. Dr. Elena Busquez, the chief sinologist aboard the Zephyrian research vessel Cosmic Dawn, had been studying the readings for hours when she made a discovery that chilled her to the bone. "Admiral Karras," she transmitted from her ship, "I've been analyzing the energy patterns from the unknown vessel, the quantum signatures. They match theoretical models for fold space manipulation that were proposed by human scientists over 200 years ago." The transmission caused a stunned silence across all fleet channels. Humans had been absent from galactic politics for nearly 3 centuries, ever since the Great Exodus, when they mysteriously abandoned all their colonies and disappeared into deep space. Most species assumed they had died out or regressed to a primitive state. "That's impossible," Commander Thrak snarled over the com. Humans were barely capable of interstellar travel when they vanished. Their technology was centuries behind ours. But as the hours passed, more evidence accumulated. The ship's hull bore markings that, when analyzed, showed clear human linguistic patterns. The vessel's design, while unlike anything in their databases, followed engineering principles that human scientists had theorized but never implemented. The truth was becoming undeniable, and it terrified every species watching. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the human vessel Eternal Vigil, watching the alien fleets through sensors that could perceive dimensions the other species didn't even know existed. She was a tall woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that had seen things that would drive most beings insane. Around her, the bridge hummed with technology that bent the very fabric of reality to humanity's will. "Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the sensor station, "we have over 300 alien vessels maintaining what they think is a safe distance. Their attempts to approach have been ... unsuccessful." Sarah nodded, a grim smile crossing her face. "They're afraid. Good. Fear will make them listen when the time comes." "Captain, with respect," said Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's chief scientist, "shouldn't we make contact? Let them know we're not a threat." Sarah turned to face him, and for a moment, Webb saw something in her eyes that made him step back. It was the look of someone who had stared into the abyss and watched it stare back. "Dr. Webb, in approximately 72 hours, sensors will detect an object approaching from the void between galaxies. An object that makes this ship look like a child's toy. An object that has been consuming entire civilizations for millions of years, leaving nothing but empty space in its wake. She gestured to the main display, which showed the positions of all the alien fleets. These species, with all their advanced technology and proud histories, will be nothing more than appetizers unless we succeed in what we came here to do. So no, Doctor, we will not reassure them. We will let them be afraid, because fear is the only thing that might make them smart enough to survive what's coming. The bridge fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Outside, in the cold of space, hundreds of alien ships continued their futile attempts to understand or approach the human vessel. Their sensors detected energy readings that shouldn't exist. Their computers crashed when trying to process the data, and their most advanced physicists found their understanding of the universe crumbling. The Korthok commanders spoke of retreat. The Viridian Collective calculated the probability of successful engagement at 0%. Even the mighty Titan clans, whose ships had never fled from any battle, found themselves backing away from something they couldn't comprehend, but none of them left. Despite their fear, despite their confusion, they remained. Something told them that this moment would define the future of the galaxy, and whatever was happening, they needed to witness it, as the eternal vigil continued its course toward the galactic core. Captain Chen allowed herself a moment of hope. Humanity had spent 3 centuries preparing for this day, developing technology that pushed the boundaries of what was possible, making sacrifices that would haunt them forever. The question was, would it be enough? The truth unveiled 3 days past intense silence as the human vessel continued its inexorable journey toward the heart of the galaxy. The alien fleets followed at what they hoped was a safe distance, their commanders locked in heated debates about how to respond to this unprecedented situation. Admiral Keras found himself at the center of an emergency session of the Galactic Council, broadcast across secure channels to ships throughout the sector. Representatives from 24 species appeared as holograms around the conference table, their various forms creating a bizarre assembly of evolutionary diversity. The human vessel has made no aggressive moves, argued Chancellor Viss of the Meridian Republic, her crystalline form chiming with each word. Perhaps we should attempt diplomatic contact. Diplomatic contact. Commander Thrak's image flickered with static as his rage interfered with the transmission equipment. This ship makes our most advanced dreadnoughts look like primitive shuttles. They could be planning to destroy us all. The Viridian Collective has attempted to establish communication protocols. Nexus Prime interjected, its synthetic voice carrying an unusual note of uncertainty. All attempts have been ... redirected. The human vessel's communication systems operate on frequencies and methods we cannot access. Dr. Elena Buskis, granted special permission to address the Council due to her expertise in human culture, spoke up from her position aboard the research vessel. Honored delegates, I've been studying human historical records for the past 72 hours. What I've found suggests that humanity's disappearance wasn't an exodus, it was a preparation. The council chamber fell silent as she continued. Human archives speak of something they called the Hunger, an ancient threat from beyond the galactic rim. According to their records, they detected signs of its approach nearly 4 centuries ago and made the decision to evacuate their colonies and prepare for its arrival. You're suggesting, Admiral Karas said slowly, that humanity has spent the last 3 centuries preparing for a war against something we don't even know exists. Before Dr. Vasquez could respond, Every sensor array in the fleet began screaming warnings. On screens throughout the assembled ships, a new contact appeared at the very edge of long-range sensors. Something massive, moving at impossible speeds. From the void between galaxies, Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Eternal Vigil as the readings poured in. The moment she had spent 3 centuries preparing for had finally arrived. "All hands, prepare for contact," she announced over the ship's intercom. "This is what we trained for. This is why we sacrificed everything. Today, we find out if it was enough." She turned to her communications officer. "Lieutenant Torres, open a channel to all alien vessels in the area. It's time they learned the truth." For the first time since its appearance, the human vessel broadcast a message that the other species could receive and understand. Captain Chun's image appeared on screens throughout the alien fleets, her weathered face showing the strain of carrying humanity's greatest secret. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth defense vessel Eternal Vigil. For 3 centuries, my people have prepared for this moment. What you are about to witness is something we call the Hunger, an entity that has consumed entire galaxies, leaving nothing but empty space in its wake." The transmission showed sensor data from the approaching object. As the alien commanders studied the readings, the scale of what they were facing became clear. The entity was larger than most space stations, moving at nearly light speed, and emanating energy signatures that defied every known law of physics. "Our ancestors detected signs of its approach 400 years ago," Chen continued. "Every human colony was evacuated. Every resource devoted to developing the technology needed to fight something that exists partially outside our reality. The ship you see before you is not a warship, it's a weapon. A weapon designed to hurt, something that cannot be hurt by conventional means." Commander Thrak's voice crackled over the emergency channel. "Even if what you say is true, one ship cannot stand against something of that magnitude." Chun's smile was grim. "You're right, one ship cannot. But one ship, working in perfect coordination with every vessel in this fleet, might have a chance." She gestured to her tactical officer, and new information flooded the alien ship's computers. Technical specifications, battle plans, coordination protocols, everything needed to turn the assembled fleet into a unified fighting force. "The technology we've developed allows us to synchronize our weapons with yours, to create a combined assault that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But it requires perfect trust and coordination. Every ship, every crew member, working as one." The alien commanders stared at the battle plans in disbelief. The level of coordination required was beyond anything they had attempted before. Species that had been enemies for millennia would need to work together with absolute precision. "Why should we trust you?" demanded Nexus Prime. "You disappeared for 3 centuries without explanation, leaving us to believe you were extinct." Chun's expression softened slightly. "Because we've already paid the price for this moment. Do you think developing this technology was without cost? We sacrificed our entire civilization, Dr. Prime. Every human colony, every world we called home, converted into research facilities and shipyards. Billions of people lived and died in the service of building this weapon and training its crew." She paused, letting the weight of that sacrifice sink in. "Every person aboard this ship is the descendant of those who gave up everything for this moment. We have no homes to return to, no worlds to defend except the ones we're trying to save. Right now, we're not asking for your trust because we deserve it. We're asking because, without it, everything ends." Dr. Alina Vasquez had been running calculations on her research vessel when she made a discovery that changed everything. Captain Chen. She transmitted. I've been analyzing the technical specifications you provided. The power requirements for your dimensional weapon system. They're enormous. How do you generate that much energy? Chen was quiet for a long moment before responding. The eternal vigil is powered by the controlled collapse of a micro-universe. Dr. Vasquez, we learn to create and destroy entire realities to fuel our weapons. The ethical implications of that decision haunted my predecessors, but they deemed it necessary. The revelation sent shockwaves through the alien fleets. Humanity hadn't just advanced their technology, they had become something fundamentally different, beings capable of manipulating the very foundations of existence. As the entity known as the Hunger drew closer, its true nature became apparent. It wasn't a ship or a creature, it was a living embodiment of entropy itself, a cosmic force that fed on the order and complexity of civilized worlds. Its approach caused reality to warp and twist, turning the laws of physics into mere suggestions. All vessels, Chen broadcast. The Hunger will reach our position in 6 hours. We have that long to integrate our systems and prepare our coordinated assault. Every species in this fleet brings something unique to the battle. The Korthak's biological ships can adapt and regenerate. The Viridian Collective's processing power can calculate targeting solutions in real time. The Zephyrian's precision, the Meridian Republic's energy manipulation, the Titan clan's raw firepower, we need all of it. What followed was the most complex military operation in galactic history. Ships that had been designed to fight each other worked together to create something greater than the sum of their parts. The Eternal Vigil's dimensional technology served as the coordination matrix, linking every vessel into a single, unified weapon system. When the Hunger finally arrived in their sector, it found not a collection of frightened civilizations, but a force unlike anything it had encountered in its eons of existence. The combined fleet opened fire with weapons that struck across multiple dimensions, coordinated with precision that bordered on the supernatural. The battle lasted 17 hours. Ships were lost, heroes died, and reality itself bent under the strain of forces that should never have existed in the same space. But when the cosmic dust settled, the Hunger was gone, not destroyed, but wounded enough to retreat back into the void between galaxies. In the aftermath, as rescue ships searched for survivors and damage reports poured in, Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the heavily damaged Eternal Vigil. Around her, the representatives of dozens of species worked together to coordinate relief efforts. Captain Admiral Karras transmitted from his command ship. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to thank humanity for this sacrifice. We owe you our existence. Chen looked out at the stars, thinking of the worlds her people had given up, the civilizations they had transformed into weapons factories, the lives spent in preparation for this single moment. We didn't do it for gratitude, Admiral. We did it because someone had to. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but it's also full of things that want to consume those wonders. Sometimes, the only way to preserve what we love is to become something we never wanted to be. She paused, watching the alien ships working together with an efficiency that would have been impossible just days before. But perhaps, she continued, what we've become isn't entirely terrible. Look around you, Admiral. For the first time in galactic history, every species is working together, united by a common purpose. Maybe that's worth the price we paid. As the Eternal Vigil limped toward the nearest space dock for repairs, escorted by ships from a dozen different species, Captain Chen allowed herself to hope. The immediate threat was gone, but the hunger would return eventually. When it did, the galaxy would be ready, not as separate, competing civilizations, but as one unified force. Humanity had spent 3 centuries preparing for one battle, transforming themselves into something beyond recognition in the process. But in doing so, they had given the galaxy something even more valuable than victory. They had given it unity. The stars shone a little brighter that day, and across countless worlds, beings who had never dreamed of working together began to plan for a future they would build as one.